time.
Make it so.
It's me, Mario.
I'm Batman. Strong am I with the Force.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
You're a wizard, Harry.
And welcome to World War G episode 154. I'm Troy.
I'm AJ.
And I'm Colton.
Okay. Start out with a list, of course.
Nothing to it but to do it.
In a world where new movies feel like they are merchandised to death, it's crazy to think that there was a time when movies actually received more of a push towards a younger market than they do now. While big blockbusters like Star Wars still fill the shelves of every toy store upon release, there was a time when a wider variety of movies would get a push from companies to produce action figures, video games, and comic books. It's hard to imagine now, but if movies like The Fast and the Furious came out in the 90s, chances are they'd have a whole action figure line despite the fact that those movies are not for kids. Some movies are better suited to a younger audience than others. The original Ghostbusters, for example, contained plenty of adult humor and scary scenes, but that didn't stop a successful animated series from being produced. In fact, there are plenty of movies that receive the animated treatment. Films like Aladdin, Men in Black, and Stuart Little all had cartoon spin-offs, which makes sense as they're all movies geared towards kids. Here, though, take a look. I didn't want to say the website, I guess it doesn't matter, but here's some movies you didn't know had crazy cartoon spin-offs. Number 15, Spaceballs. Spaceballs is a hugely popular, extremely funny sci-fi parody movie from the mind of Mel Brooks, and has become the beloved cult favorite for its send-up of the Star Wars franchise. In 2008, almost 20 years after the movie's release, Brooks Films developed an animated television series that loosely based itself on its movie namesake. Missing some of the original cast, such as Pullman, Moranis, and the sadly deceased Candy, each of the 13 episodes of Spaceballs, the animated series, parodied a different pop culture franchise, such as Lord of the Rings and Grand Theft Auto. There was probably a problem. Stick with parodying one thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you have Spaceballs that's already a parody of Star Wars and then have them parody Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense to me.
They should have at least named it something else then.
Yeah. That's weird. All right, number 14, Rambo. Sylvester Stallone's Rambo films are definitely not for kids. So the fact that there's an animated series based on the blood-soaked war movies pretty much defies belief. Rambo, The Force of Freedom, was a cartoon series that started in 1986 and ran for 65 episodes.
Wow.
Spanning a toy line before its cancellation that same year. Casting aside the deeper commentary, Forces of Freedom focused on John Rambo and his G.I. Joe-style adventures against the evil forces of Savage, the specialist administrators of vengeance, anarchy, and global extortion.
That's a mouthful.
So I wonder if it was graphic or if they made it G.I. Joe level, like where nobody ever gets killed, or...
That's what I was thinking. I mean, I'm thinking it's pretty similar to G.I. Joe, or in that same vein, that's what they were thinking when they created it.
I know I've seen the opening title sequence, and it seems very G.I. Joe-ish. Yeah, they probably use lasers.
The art style was really G.I. Joe-ish.
It reminded me a little bit of... what was that one? George of the Jungle. Almost.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Number 13, Police Academy.
They're taking these adult-like movies, that are comedies, but more geared towards adults, and trying to make it kid-friendly and a cartoon out of it.
Well, it seems like to me they're like, okay, well, we have this adult film.
Yeah.
Not an adult film, but an adult film. Let's make a cartoon out of this.
Get it on.
And they're like, well, we should also try to reach kids with it, or I don't know. I can see him. That was the thought process,
Right.
Like, we reached the adults with it. Now let's try to reach kids.
Now we want to touch kids with this cartoon.
Ooh, easy.
All right, Michael Jackson.
The Police Academy movies are still popular today for their slapstick comedy and underdog tales of unlikely heroes rising through the ranks of the local police force. There were 2 television adaptations of the Police Academy franchise, one in 1997, which was live action, and one in 1988, which was the animated series. It ran for 6 episodes over 2 seasons and is set between the 4th and 5th movies. Oh, well. The best ones.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I've only seen the first. Among the usual cast of characters, the animated series introduced a series of talking canine companions, smart talking police dogs with names like Samson, Bonehead, and Chili Pepper. Naturally, action figures and comic books followed. Number 12, The Karate Kid.
Oh, Daniel-san.
The Karate Kid was hugely successful 1984 movie in the same vein as Rocky or similarly themed sports movies, where the underdog is pitted against seemingly impossible odds. In 1989, the film was chosen to become adapted to an animated series, initially looking at a 65-episode order before becoming a 13-episode series for NBC Saturday mornings. The cartoon took a more mystical adventure slant, sending Daniel on missions all across the globe to retrieve a magical shrine that had been stolen from Okinawa.
This reminds me a lot of the Jackie Chan series.
That's what I was just about to say with the talismans and
Yeah,
stuff. That was
right?
the best.
Oh, man. I never saw the conclusion of that one, though.
Me
I don't know
neither.
how it ended.
Oh, Jackie!
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
And Troy's like, leave the voice impressions to the professionals.
Sorry.
The paid professional.
Yeah, paid. Sure. Yeah. Number 11, Godzilla the Series. While Godzilla seemed like a perfect candidate for a cartoon series, we're not talking about the original Japanese King of the Monsters here. I'm not even talking about the 2014 remake with Bryan Cranston. Godzilla the Series is a direct continuation of the 1998 Godzilla movie starring Matthew Broderick and Hank Azaria, aka the worst Godzilla movie ever.
That was a pretty horrible one. That Godzilla creature looked so cartoony and just square. You know, his whole face.
We had this giant jaw that jutted out, and it was...
I just kept seeing Ferris Bueller, trying to fight Godzilla
Yeah.
the entire time.
And I think they were trying to capitalize on, like, Jurassic Park and trying to make him more of a dinosaur than anything. And just, no.
Yeah.
Number 10, Ace Ventura. It may seem...
Oh, I was waiting for alrighty then. Come on, Hope. Let me down.
Like a glove. I can't do it. I can't. Sorry.
It may seem like a glove. I'm going to write that down. Could be the name of the episode. It may seem at first glance like the Ace Ventura movies are perfect for kids. Jim Carrey was at his slapstick best, throwing his body around as he solves animal-related crimes with his monkey sidekick. Despite that, in 1995, CBS produced 2 seasons of an anime series that followed the decidedly more kid-friendly adventures of Ace Ventura as he attempts to locate missing animals and generally get into mischief. The first episodes sees him helping Santa Claus locate a missing reindeer, and later episodes see him face off against ancient Egyptian curses and evil sorcerers.
Once again, like movies such as Police Academy and Spaceballs, they're taking these comedies, and doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for them to have the one where it's like Airplane,
Yeah.
the spinoff of Airplane.
Number 9, Beetlejuice. It's one of my favorites.
I remember this one.
Beetlejuice is a 1998 Tim Burton movie starring Michael Keaton as the titular Beetlejuice, as well as Alec Baldwin, Gina Davis, and Winona Ryder. A year later, in 1989, Tim Burton returned to the character, becoming the executive producer of a Betelgeuse animated series that ran for 4 seasons and over 100 episodes. It was regarded as a huge success, running daily currently on ABC and Fox, and despite the film not being made for kids, retroactively led to the original movie gaining a large kid following and subsequent airings on Cartoon Network.
See, I'm glad that they got Tim Burton involved in this to make it still look Tim Burton-esque.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
To not stray too far away from what his original idea was. Plus, with cartoons, you know, like some of his other animated movies that he's done, it works really well.
Well, and
it translates really well.
And it added a shred of credibility to the cartoon as well, just bringing him back to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Number 8. Oh, boy. Friday/Next Friday. The Friday franchise is the Friday franchise of movies started in 1995 with the original movie written and starring Ice Cube as Craig Jones and his stoner buddy, and is a stoner buddy movie about Jones and his friend Smokey, played by Chris Tucker, struggling to come up with the $200 they owe a local drug dealer. The short-lived animated spin-off ran for 8 episodes in June and July of 2007.
I think Fat Albert actually made a cameo. I'm just kidding.
While the cartoon was still not aimed at kids, the Friday films seemed like an unlikely source material for animated series. Despite none of the original cast returning, the show contained some big voice actors, including Phil Lamar, John DiMaggio, and Kevin Michael Richardson.
Aren't they going to do an animated version of Straight Outta Compton?
I hope so. That'd be great. And over the opening title sequence, they can actually play that song.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Number 7. Clerks. Another unlikely movie to spawn an animated series. Kevin Smith's inaugural, don't know why that was hard to say, feature film Clerks is the 1994 black comedy that shot the writer and director to the stratosphere upon its release. While definitely maintaining the adult themes of the show, the Clerks animated series was produced in mid-2000 for the ABC network and ran only 6 episodes. Unfortunately for the show, only 2 of the episodes aired before it was canceled. Despite the entire cast of the movie returning, it would be another 2 years before the remaining 4 episodes would air. Number 6. Oh boy. Robo Cop. Nothing says kids like Robo Cop.
Yeah.
Much like Ace Ventura or Rambo, Robo Cop seems like a character perfect for kids, but starring in a distinctly adult movie. The 1987 cyberpunk action movie saw Peter Weller's cop Alex Murphy violently shot by a ruthless gang, before having most of his body replaced and enhanced by robotics, transforming him into the titular RoboCop. To make the 1988 cartoon more appropriate for youngsters, the show made a number of changes to the world of RoboCop.
Oh, I'm sure.
Including replacing bullets with lasers and shifting the setting from a dystopian Detroit to somewhere a bit more generally sci-fi. The show ran for only 12 episodes, and while none of the original cast returned, it maintained close narrative ties to the movie.
See, this one I actually think had potential. I mean, if you did it something similar to like Batman the Animated Series,
yeah,
then I think possibly it could have worked. But making it too cheesy and too kid friendly, that's kind of probably where they lost a lot of people.
Number 5, Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure was a 1989 buddy comedy about 2 slacker high schoolers who use a time-traveling telephone booth to assemble a league of history's greatest figures in order to produce a high school history presentation. In 1990, this animated spin-off was produced by Hanna-Barbera and aired on CBS, the first season of which saw almost all of the main cast, including Reeves, Winter, and George Carlin, return. After 13 episodes, the show moved to Fox Kids under DC Entertainment, who replaced the entire cast and resulted in the show's cancellation after only 8 episodes. Way to go.
That they actually had another spin-off of Mrs. Frizzle from this one.
Number 4. The Mask. I remember this. I watched the heck out of this cartoon. There's something about Jim Carrey's performance that lends itself to kid cartoons. While it's his pet detective Ace Ventura or his superpowered anti-hero The Mask, based on the Dark Horse comics of the same name. The animated series came the next year and ran... The 1994 movie The Mask saw Carrey play Stanley Ipkiss, the mild-mannered owner/victim of a malevolent mask that brought out his crazy alter ego. The animated series came out the next year and ran from 95 to 97, over 3 seasons and 54 episodes. While none of the main cast returned for the animated series, the show alluded to the movie multiple times throughout its run. Cameron Diaz's character, Tina Carlisle, is absent, but reporter Peggy Brandt and Milo the dog are still supporting characters. You know who played the Mask in the cartoon?
Who's that?
Whose voice it was? Rob Paulson.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Number 3, Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon Dynamite remains one of the biggest cult movies of the mid-2000s, earning over $46 million for a movie in which a lead star, John Heder, was only paid $1,000.
I really didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
The short-lived cartoon was developed by original writers and directors Jared and Jerusha Hess in conjunction with Simpsons veteran Mike Scully and Fox Television. Most of the original cast returned, including Heder, but the show received mixed reviews upon its release. Despite being aimed at an adult audience, the movie's appeal got somewhat lost in translation, ending the show after only 6 episodes.
Those Napoleon Dynamite numbers are pretty similar to like the ones that the Blair Witch Project got. You know, just like out of nothing, they've created like something cult classic.
Well, they both kind of have like an independent movie feel.
They do, yeah.
Blair Witch Project is something completely different. Like, it could be shot on a smartphone nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, Napoleon Dynamite's just one of those. You can tell that it was cheaply made, but it had, like, heart. Yeah.
Number 2, Little Shop of Horrors. Little Shop of Horrors is the Frank Oz-directed adaptation of the Broadway musical of the same name. Starring Rick Moranis, Ellen Greene, Steve Martin, and Levi Stubbs, the horror comedy about a geeky florist who discovers a talking Venus flytrap had a modest budget and received positive acclaim upon its release. Its themes may seem childish, but there are plenty of adult moments to ensure it's not exactly a film for kids. Despite that, an animated adaptation was produced in 1991 that borrowed more from the Broadway musical than it did the movie. Called simply Little Shop, the Marvel Productions show lasted for 13 episodes and toned down a lot of the horror elements of its source material, instead focusing on the characters as they go through junior high. Number 1. I have a vague recollection of this. Jumanji.
Oh, yeah.
With a new movie coming out, it's safe to say that Jumanji is still a beloved franchise. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, not after Jack Black, gets his hands on it. He already messed up and ruined Goosebumps for me.
Yeah, it's true. I think R.L. Stine probably did that long before Jack Black did. The original movie was released in 1995 and starred Robin Williams, Bonnie Hunt, Kirsten Dunst, and Bebe Neuwirth. Neuwirth. Thank you. Its wild action and early use of CGI saw it fast become one of the biggest movies of the year and a firm family favorite among fans. The animated series ran from 1996 to 1999 for 3 seasons, and while it borrowed a lot of the characters and design elements from the movie, it retconned some of the larger story elements. Distinctly darker in tone, the cartoon saw each of the characters given a clue and then sucked into the jungle of the game until they can solve it, rather than see elements of the game enter the real world.
I'm pretty sure it was the same animators that did the Wild Thornberrys.
Thornberrys.
It looks a lot
right?
like that. Yeah. Probably
The tall heads,
Mm-hmm.
big chins.
What's that company? Klasky Suspo?
Huh.
Same people that did Rugrats.
Yeah.
I think it was all the same people. All right.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah. Are there any other movies you think would make good animated films?
Well, they did one. Okay, it was The Mummy. That was short-lived.
Oh yeah,
Right? It was like only 13 episodes or so.
Yeah.
But I actually have them on DVD.
Really?
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
I know they did Mighty Ducks, kinda.
It's got to be one with like an origin story that wasn't really explored that well in the movie.
Mm.
You know, that provides a lot of stuff for them to use, you know, ammo and whatnot.
Yeah.
Trying to think of the only ones I can think of are like, I don't know, Marvel and DC.
All I'm thinking of horror movies.
Oh, okay.
Like The Ring or Nightmare on Elm Street. Or...
Oh, that one would work
Terrifying.
well.
Yeah, why is my
cartoons.
mind going there? It's weird. I had one. I just had one. Dang. Oh, I lost it. Shoot.
I think like maybe a King Arthur adaptation or something could work pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot, like, you could just explore the whole entire realm and everything else going on.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. Dick Tracy.
They did that. There's an animated one.
Well, I mean, based on the movie.
Oh, okay.
Based on the Warren Beatty
it's got like
movie.
flat top and,
Yeah.
you know, all those characters.
Yeah.
It looks really similar to Underdog. You know, it's made about the same time.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you know, if they made it, I mean, the 90s were crazy with these sort of cartoons.
Yeah.
So if they made it after the movie came out in 1990, you know, make it kind of a darker, kind of a noir maybe type of thing, or
I could see that.
You know.
Yeah. I'd be all for that one.
me too. I think that'd be cool.
Mad Max.
Ooh,
That could be pretty cool.
that could be cool.
Right?
And I can see those same people that did Jumanji and Wild Thornberrys doing that one. I don't know. I can just see it in my mind.
Yeah.
But use
Like
the
big
cast
heads.
of Rugrats.
Ooh, there you go. That's a
Not
twist.
the voice actors, the babies.
Have Tommy spraying his mouth with chrome.
Shh. Gotta get my
Witness!
fix.
Okay. Let's take a break. When we come back, we got some stuff for you.
Lots of stuff.
So we'll be back right after this.
Are you feeling nostalgic about your music listening needs?
Do you like the tonal quality that only a record can provide?
Then go check out Lavender Vinyl, located at 123 25th Street, Ogden, Utah.
Yeah, go talk to Kylie or Blake. They have a large selection of new and used records. They will also buy your old records, maybe the ones that are just sitting up there in the attic, gathering dust. And if you can't find anything, they'll be more than happy to pre-order it for you. Now, you can always find them at lavendervinyl@gmail.com. You can also check out their website, lavendervinyl.com, or give them a call on the phone, like a normal person, at 385-240-0336.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
I don't think he was that kid. He was in the one with that movie with Bruce Willis, which I think was called The Kid.
The kid, yeah.
I think. Yeah, it's that. I think it's that same kid.
Are you sure it isn't the kid in 2.5 Men?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I don't know if we had this. I don't know if we had this magic box where you could just look up anything. That'd be nice.
It really is just incredible, the fact that we have every piece of knowledge known to man within This little tiny thing.
I also think it's funny how your teachers back in the day would say, "You can't use calculators. You're not going to have one with you all the time."
One on you.
Like, bull crap.
Angus Jones. He Jones.
It was him.
Yeah.
Oh.
His name is Angus?
Named Angus.
That kid.
He's as big as a cow.
Yeah, that's him.
So he was in 2.5 Men, The Rookie, George's Jungle 2.
I'll be danged. I was getting my little fat kids mixed up.
They all look alike.
All right. By the way, I've been recording all this. I'm just going to leave it in.
In full disclosure. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. I'm like,
okay. Let's get back to it, shall we?
yes.
Now we're done talking about little fat kids.
Now we got to talk about other kids. The kids from Stranger Things. So there's been a huge conversation about sexualization of children actors on the internet recently, with the kids from Stranger Things.
There shouldn't be a conversation at all.
Right? At the forefront of the conversation.
I feel like we're going to be on a list somewhere.
I'm going to say we're going to be flagged.
Last week, Finn Wolfhard was the subject of a pretty inappropriate comment from a model, Allie Michael. Which, okay, I don't know. She's pretty dang good looking. Like, you always see those one
For a
thing.
12-year-old.
No, not Millie.
Oh.
No, I'm talking about the model, dude.
Oh.
Allie Michael.
Allie Michael.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't look her up. I don't know.
Okay, you'll have to after the episode.
Oh, I will.
No, I'm just saying, you always see like these sexual predator teachers, and I'm like, there was this one teacher that she had like glasses and she was taking them off and like putting them, to her mouth all seductive looking like. I'm like, why didn't I have a 3rd grade teacher like that?
She's not bad.
Yeah.
She's not bad.
Okay. And Millie Bobby Brown has been found herself in a few similar situations despite her young age. Spanish radio company Play FM recently brought up the August 2017 cover of W magazine. After it started recirculating on Twitter among angry fans calling them out that their inclusion of Millie Bobby Brown is a feature about the hottest TV stars. On the cover, there was a list of, off the left-hand side, why TV is sexier than ever. And in the list are actors such as Nicole Kidman, James Franco,
Sure.
Yeah, right? And then it's like also included on that list is 13-year-old Millie Bobby Brown. Then they kind of go on to do their own opinion and stuff. But I thought we'd bring this article up to talk about it. Like, that is crazy.
That is creepy.
That is
really creepy.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when the first Harry Potter movie came out, and I was what, 15, 16 at the time?
Yeah.
And I was talking about Emma Watson at the time.
Yeah.
And that was still not as creepy, but still a little bit. There could be a case made there. Yeah, but
there wasn't a case, was there?
It's still
no, the charges didn't stick.
It's still in litigation.
But no, I know what you mean. Like, there's kind of a final. There's no gray area in that. That's just dirt. That's just horrible.
I can't believe I have to say this, but you probably shouldn't sexualize kids. That's just me. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Jeez. You have to wait just like all the other Hollywood actresses. Wait till they're 18 and then get sexualized.
Exactly. Just remember, kids, 15 to 17 will get you 15 to 20.
That's right.
Oh.
Then when you're 18, then you got to go up to Harvey Weinstein's office, talk to him.
Right. For a job.
And then another job after that.
No, but seriously, that's just way creepy.
Yeah,
I don't know what they were thinking. It's the day and age we live in.
First video footage of new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. It's been about a month since we revealed that Raw Thrills has created a brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. But we haven't seen much about it since then. Thankfully, Arcade Heroes has come to the rescue with a new video revealing the entire stage from a game. We weren't sure if we'd see any gameplay until the unit shipped to arcades, so it's nice to see that this footage has leaked so soon after the announcement. There are a few things to note about the gameplay on display here. First of all, you can find this, by the way, at TeenageMutantNinjaTurtles.com. There are a few things to note about the gameplay on display here. First of all, we can pretty much confirm that this is a traditional brawler beat-em-up in the style of Konami's past TMNT arcade games. In addition to that detail, we know what some of the power-ups will look like. Although we only got to see Leonardo, the power-up system is pretty clear. As you play the game, you'll gather enough credit for a turtle power move. In this case, Leo performs some kind of tornado attack that affects every enemy on screen. This isn't unlike the kind of massive attacks we saw in titles like Streets of Rage, so it's definitely a welcome addition to the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. Our first look at the game also reveals the important characters like Metalhead play a role as special power-ups. Much like Leo's turtle power move, Metalhead can be used to attack several enemies on the screen at once.
This had better be a lot better than their last installment, and than their last TMNT game.
Which one was that?
Where you're jumping across like building after building and kind of... you know what I mean?
Yeah, I have that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was pretty disappointing. This one sounds a lot like the one that we played like at Lucky Slice.
Yeah.
When we were going, it's kind of a side scroller. You can do you build up enough power, and then you can do like a special attack that destroys a lot of enemies in your vicinity. It looks like to be pretty impressive.
When it ships, we'll have to go find it.
Right?
Go play it. Yeah,
yes.
Check it out.
Do some sort of a review on it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. So going back to Stranger Things for a minute, it says, let's see. While the spooky science fiction horror of Netflix phenomenon Stranger Things can border on the ridiculous, it turns out that there's truth, that truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. In a new video interview with Gaten Matarazzo, Dustin, and Joe Keery, Steve Matarazzo revealed a little about the real Cold War era experiment that inspired the series. On Tuesday, Wired posted a Stranger Things installment of its popular web series, Autocomplete Interview, where celebrities answer questions based on Google's suggested autocomplete search results. On the show, was Mazzarato and Keery, who played Steve. Here we go. When Keery read the first question, is Stranger Things based on a real story? Mazzarato dropped some truth bombs and said, yes, it kind of is. It's based on a place in Montauk, New York, called Camp Hero. He said, there's a rumor of, I'm trying to read this like a kid here. He's like, there's a totally rumor, secret government spies doing these human experiments to fight in the Cold War. The actor added that while the characters of Stranger Things didn't exist, the experiments and places there were real. Mazzarato said, it is possible to visit these facilities in theory, but you're not allowed in. Then it goes on a little bit further where it talks about rumor that the U.S. government has been conducting experiments in psychological warfare in Montauk at either Camp Hero or Montauk Air Force Station began to bubble up in the mid-'80s. And I did some of my own research and kind of looked into this. You've always said that some of your favorite movies are the movies that make you want to do research after the fact.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And that was the case with this. I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. It kind of reminded me of like, Area 51 kind of a deal. And it's crazy how many different like experiments and stuff and technology that came out of this one, like the base itself, in Camp Hero. And I don't know. I thought that was pretty cool that they have some truth mixed in, because it keeps you guessing still.
Yeah, I have heard that. I heard that when season 1 came out.
Mm-hmm.
I came across it somewhere that it was about, Camp Hero and that sort of thing. And I think they also took different elements from different other different places about, the experiments on kids and stuff like that. They drew from a lot of different inspirations.
Mm-hmm. Like the whole TV show itself is based off of, they're drawing inspiration from all of these other classic 80s, horror and, I don't know, Goonies, Nightmare on Elm Street, like everything. They're pulling from everywhere.
Yeah.
So it only makes sense that they would do the same with the mythos behind Stranger Things.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, yes. A list.
Yes.
Okay, so I came across this one list where it said 52 Netflix, there was 54 Netflix series and rated. They gave a percentage next to them, similar to like Rotten Tomatoes. And it made me laugh because I started reading down this list, and number 53, because they always start at the back of the list. But number 53 was Iron Fist with 17%.
Yeah.
Some other notable ones. I want to mainly talk about the top 10, but some other notable ones was 53 Iron Fist, 56 Fuller House with 32%, which I'm not surprised. It's that low. Number 39 was Ozark with 64%. 37 was The Defenders with 75%. So it kind of like does a quick jump, and then the rest of these ones are like, 80s and 90s. Like they're pretty high up there.
Right.
But you've got number 33, which is Atypical, which was one that you'd recommended, Colton.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number 16 was Jessica Jones, and number 11, not even in the top 10, was Stranger Things at 94%.
That's a surprise.
Right?
That is a big surprise.
Yeah. I was really surprised to see that it was like, I don't know, it wasn't even in the top 10. I thought for sure it'd be up there a little bit higher with how quickly people have watched it.
Yeah. Being such the cultural phenomenon that it is.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised it didn't crack the top 10. Critics scored 94%, audience scored 94%. That's nothing to sneeze at, but
no.
Surprising.
And a lot of them, it was, like you said, critics were rating it like, 50%, but audience scored it like an 80. And so they were kind of off. But these ones, like, they're pretty dang close to what critics thought as well as the audience. Number 10, Mindhunter with 95%. Have you given this one a chance yet?
Never even heard of it.
I wanted to.
Right. And I've only watched the first 2 episodes, and it's pretty dang good. It's kind of about the FBI. It starts out with this agent where he is talking to somebody, trying to talk him out of, like, killing all these hostages, and he just like says, hey, we don't know anything, we hardly know. This is like at the beginning of when they're doing like hostage negotiations and trying to talk people off the ledge, talk them off the ledge and do all these different things. They really don't know much about the psychology or the psychology about serial killers. So,
and this is before they coined the term serial killer too.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah. So they're going around to these different places and kind of telling them the information that they do have, and then having open and honest discussions with these FBI agents, and just saying like, hey, what else can we bring to the table? Can we kind of put together something that's actually finite and that's actually going to work, or is it case by case, or how does this actually work?
Trying to see if there's common denominators between all of these serial killers.
Because now they've got it down to like a science. It's ridiculous how, they can almost pinpoint. They're like, okay, so he was like beat as a child. He did this. Okay, it's this kid that grew up here. Like,
it's almost like a criminal science.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay. Number 9. Luke Cage, sitting at 96%.
I mean, not my favorite Netflix show, but I could see, it was important. It was a kind of a groundbreaking show, an important story to tell. So, yeah, I get it.
Audience, I thought it was kind of funny. It was like 79%, but critics scored it 96.
So that 76 basically exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
In number form. Like, yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. Number 8, One Day at a Time.
Never heard of that.
Never even heard of it.
Right? Sitting at 96 as well. Number 7, Unbreakable, Kimmy Schmidt. At 97.
I watched the first 2 episodes. I thought it was terrible.
I watched the first season. It's very much in the same vein as 30 Rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's made by the same people, basically. So it kind of has that humor, which I like, but I don't know.
It was all right.
Acquired taste.
There was some. I mean, it's pretty funny. If you got nothing else to watch, it's perfectly fine. Number 6, American Vandal.
Nope, never heard of that.
Me neither.
Right?
Who watches these movies?
Number 5. Yeah, right?
Who has time? That's my question.
Number 5 is Alias Grace. Alias Grace, yeah.
Like, when you can be watching Stranger Things, why are you watching a period piece like this?
Anna Paquin.
19th century Canada.
If Canada wasn't boring enough, learn about 19th century Canada.
Number 4, Dear White People. I've not heard much about this one.
I've heard about it
a little bit.
Yeah, but I haven't watched it. I don't think I'm allowed to. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Well, it's literally to you.
That's true. I guess I probably should. Yeah.
Like, Boo, Medea's Halloween.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, number 3.
I'm sure they would love to be compared to that.
Number 3, Big Mouth at 100%.
I wonder who these critics are, and
right?
I don't know. Like, I started watching one episode of this show, and I gave up. It's
really?
Way too crude and crass for me.
Which is saying something.
It's something you definitely wouldn't want. It's something you wouldn't want to watch around anyone that you think might have some respect for you.
Right. It's one of those where you hear it change it as soon as somebody walks in the room.
Yeah. Number 2, Master of None at 100%.
I keep hearing good things about that.
It's kind of a slow burning. It's really down to earth. He's kind of funny.
It's real.
Mm-hmm.
It's real. It really just feels like they're following along just a normal person, and I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
I'm just not a big fan of Aziz Ansari, but I've heard they say that he's not doing like his
he's
character.
Not himself. Yeah,
yeah.
He's not doing the whole like what they did with Louis C.K. or other. Well, where you see like these comics, they'll do a TV show, but they also like throw in like Seinfeld. They'll throw in some of their, their skit basically.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Number 1, Mystery Science Theater 3000, The Return at 100%.
Did you watch all of these? Because you were so excited when you heard that it was coming out.
I have only watched half of them because I mean, dude, they're like, they're full length movies each episode.
Yeah, it's an investment
to
watch
is,
that show,
right? Yeah. I mean, I thought it was an investment to watch like Sherlock Holmes, where they're like 45-minute episodes,
and there's only 3 of them per season.
Yeah, Black Mirror, some of those other ones that's like only a couple of episodes, but they're large chunks.
Yeah, I do have to say I've kind of ruined myself when it comes to Mystery Science Theater and that sort of thing. I thought that what they were doing was like all improv.
Mm-hmm.
When they sat there and watched the film and made these comments. No, it's all written down. It's all scripted.
Yeah.
So when you go listen to it that way, knowing that all these jokes are all written down, it ruins it for me.
But every personally. 10 episodes, we do the same thing with the Marvel movies, right? We just script them.
That's true. We do write everything down. Yeah.
What?
That, by the way, I do have to shoot you. I do have to shoot you the script for the next episode.
Okay, deal.
Just so you know.
Hopefully it doesn't leak out on the internet anywhere,
hopefully.
Somebody gets a hold of it beforehand.
You imagine what that script would look like? It'd be like 6 pages of just nothing. It'd just be silence.
Well, okay, it's a really good part of the movie. Oh man, there's another action scene.
Yeah. All right. Let's take another break. And when we come back, we got even more stuff for you. So We'll be back right after this.
After the messages, we'll be right back.
On the historic streets of Ogden, there are two kinds of people, readers and non-readers. Here's where you can find their stories.
Booked on 25th Street, located at 147 Historic 25th Street, Ogden, Utah, 84401.
Yeah, stop by and say hi to our friend Marcy. You can pick up a new or used book, or you can sell your own used books.
That's right, you can get 10% store credit on what they can sell the book for.
Stop in and say hi, or call them at 801-529-7720. You can find them on Facebook at facebook.com/bookedon25th, or you can email them at marcy@bookedon25th.com, or visit their website, bookedon25th.com.
Be sure to tell them that World War G sent you. Now back to the episode.
And we're back. So I'm very sad. Toy Story 4 is having problems.
I don't know if sad's the right word, Troy. You know, you were pretty upset. You seemed pretty upset when I walked in.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. You told me to put the knife down.
I wish
which
you
I
would
did.
Step back from that ledge, my friend. Grab the acoustic guitar behind you, started playing it. You know. Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Problems in Paradise.
Just trying to see kind of where this story begins here.
At Toy Story 1?
Well, okay, here we go. In the wake of claims of misconduct against Pixar Animation Studios, Walt Disney Animation Studios, and Disney Toon Studios Chief Executive Officer John Lasseter, THR has cited sources stating that actor and screenwriter Rashida Jones left Toy Story 4 early in the film's development after an unwanted advance from Lasseter. Jones and writing partner Will McCormick did not respond to requests for comment. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Disney declined comment to THR, but the article quotes an unnamed studio source saying the writer's exit was due to, quote, creative differences. Reportedly, Jones and McCormick will still be credited for Toy Story 4. Lasseter is under fire following the revelation of a history of alleged inappropriate workplace behavior over the years. On Tuesday, Lasseter announced a 6-month leave of absence from the studio, citing unnamed missteps in a memo to employees.
Oh, do you have part of that article? I think I read this article as well, where just part of the memo that he sent out to everybody.
I don't see it here.
It was kind of strange because I remember reading it, and he was talking he kind of vaguely stepped over that. He's like, forgive me for any misconduct, he didn't really blame himself, but at the same time, he walked a fine line.
Right.
But,
so he kind of did that boss thing where it's like, don't worry, I'm just leaving for a little bit. I'm not saying that anything happened. Just, it's best if I leave. It's best for the company. Not actually
continue working hard in my absence.
Yeah.
Tell my story, that kind of stuff.
Not actually admitting fault, but
yeah,
when all the employees know that obviously this is the reason he's leaving.
Oh, he also did mention that there was forgive me if there was any unwanted hugs. I remember there being that in there.
See, this is very disappointing to me because
you're a huggy Philly kind of a person.
No. I'm a Pixar person. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of Pixar, and I've followed the company, and I've read books on the company, and if these things are true, it sucks that these things happen. And Lasseter, to me, seems like kind of the touchy-feely, huggy type of person, where that's just his personality.
Right.
I don't know.
Where he's just like, oh, good job, kind of puts his arm around you.
I've always wanted to work for Pixar, but maybe not so much now.
Yeah.
I don't even like my own family touching me, let alone my boss.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even imagine. Speaking of people touching each other, I'm calling this story...
It's not as sexy as it sounds.
Yeah. Well, okay, this story actually sounds a lot like WWE kind of stuff. I'm calling this story Go-Go Attorneys. A long simmering feud boiled over this weekend between actor Jean-Claude Van Damme and former Green Power Rangers Jason David Frank. Never watched the show, but I thought you'd appreciate this story, Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. With the two involved in an altercation at La Mole Comic-Con in Mexico City. Footage of the fight posted by The Blast shows Van Damme and Frank in a heated exchange in which the two come face to face, but the video cuts out after some terse words, though the report indicated that Frank locked Van Damme in a headlock against the wall.
Oh, snap.
Oh, man. He's like, use the elbow! Use the elbow!
Sweep the leg.
The tensions have been building for over 20 years, reportedly stemming back to premiere of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, in 1995.
Wow.
During which Van Damme reportedly blew off Frank. That's how it is. I'm like, well, there's your problem.
Why is he mad about
blew
that?
Frank off. Yeah, okay. Frank held on to the grudge and challenged Van Damme to an MMA fight in 2010, but nothing came of it. Apparently, Van Damme has been holding on to his own grudge since these events. As reported by The Blast, the former Power Ranger was surprised when he was asked to share his green room with Van Damme and his camp, which Van Damme said rolled 20 people deep. Despite the grudge, he accepted the offer. Then, after Van Damme handler asked for a photo op, with Frank, the exchange developed to the point where the actors had to be physically separated. As Frank tells The Blast, he thinks it was a setup by Van Damme to ambush him and demands an apology for the MMA challenge in 2010, but Frank wouldn't back down and went so far as to name drop Chuck Zidane, the actor who formerly told a story about beating Van Damme up in the 90s. Yeah, and it just goes on from there.
So it's two C level
They're like D or like E.
getting
level.
into a dick measuring contest.
Yeah, basically. Which I think it was really funny because I was looking at like pictures of this former Green Power Ranger, and he's got this tattoo on his arm that says Jesus didn't tap, and the T is a cross. Yeah. I'm like, wow.
I follow
awesome.
Jason David Frank on many platforms.
Yeah. Is it pretty interesting?
No, the thing with him though is, I like him and I follow him because he's embraced that whole Power Rangers thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of them kind of don't really like to talk about it.
The Red Ranger kind of had like criminal charges and stuff, you know.
Yeah, he completely embraced it. And he's very accessible to his fans. He, very gracious to his fans. That's why I follow him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and he's still like keeps up with martial arts.
No, he's not a guy you want to mess with.
No.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really funny at the very end of the article. It did say that Van Damme's latest project was the Amazon series, Jean-Claude Van Damme Johnson, that's coming out in December, while Frank recently had a cameo in the Power Rangers movie. I'm like, that was your next claim to fame here?
Come on, guys.
That's like M. Night Shyamalan, where like 20 years later, he's still saying, the creator of The Sixth Sense, kind of a deal.
Yeah, this would have been a cool story back in 1995 when these guys were still popular.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's just kind of sad.
He's like, hey, my crew runs 20 deep, you know, I need room for my posse. Like, oh, jeez. All right, guys.
Van Damme is one of the most arrogant people in Hollywood. According to all the sources.
Yeah.
The dude is a jerk. So, this doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
No. All right. Well, we've talked about The Punisher on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Still haven't finished it yet. I'm getting there.
All right.
Then we'll talk about it.
We'll give our full review.
Mm-hmm. Marvel's The Punisher is a PSA for post-traumatic stress disorder. Despite Frank Castle's extreme measures, it's difficult not to root for him, not only as an anti-hero, but as a human being. When Marvel's Daredevil Season 2 introduced the character to Netflix, fans were eager to see how this new take on the vigilante would be spun, especially in the wake of 3 films. This time, star John Bernthal, while still aggressive, brings a subdued intensity to the role. Daredevil explored Frank's origins as an enemy of the state with a bloody vendetta against those responsible for the death of his family. However, The Punisher goes deeper than a traditional revenge thriller. Showrunner Steve Lightfoot actually places less focus on Frank's violent tendencies, at least for the majority of the season, instead focusing on post-traumatic stress disorder as a thematic path that sets several characters on a collision course with each other.
That's pretty true. I mean, he does have a lot of flashbacks, especially when he dreams. That's how you get the backstory, which is a lot better done. I mean, it's much better done than like the Arrow, where they spend the majority. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, these are just like glimpses, and you kind of like have to piece it together episode by episode, not like 20 minutes. The first half of the episode is a flashback, you know.
And the article goes on and on about, you know, the ways it goes into it and really talks about it and really hits it pretty heavily. Now, I know not that I have firsthand experience with this, but I work with a guy who was a former Army infantry man.
Yeah. Do you like walk up behind him and clap really loud?
No, because I'm not a dick. And I have respect for him. No, but he talks about, he was shot, he was stabbed.
Oh, geez.
He was in the trenches, and, before this ever came out, he would talk about stories that he has issues sleeping, he goes to group therapy.
Very similar to what happens in The Punisher.
Exactly.
Like, pretty spot on.
And his favorite hero, because he knows I like superheroes, so he always says, my favorite superhero is the Punisher. So I told him, I said, you need to watch this series.
Yeah.
It will probably really hit home for you, and a couple parts might be hard to watch, but you need to watch this.
One of my, really good friends, his dad, served, kind of basically around the same time as, what MASH, takes place.
Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he couldn't watch it, though. That was one show that, it hit too close to home for him. Yeah. So I don't know how this gentleman, is going to do.
I asked him Monday, how far he got. He was on episode 10.
Oh, wow.
So he just flew through it, and he loves it. He said a few parts were hard to watch.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah, he absolutely loved it, so yeah. Yeah, but it's so far. I mean, it's an interesting take on Frank Castle.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. I like John Bernthal's portrayal of him.
Oh, same here.
Yeah, kind of a guy that is going through a lot. He is going through the PTSD. But at the same time, he's trying to do what's right. He's trying to,
he has
try
good
to get
intentions.
try to get his life together.
He does have some sort of moral compass, however skewed it might be. It's still his compass that he lives by, because like they said when they're having group therapy, one of the kids kind of brings up, he's just it was so much easier in war because we had set rules, we had a set schedule, and we just did what we were told.
Right.
Now you come back here and you got all this free time, and he didn't know what to do with himself. He's out there in his backyard digging a trench.
Yeah. No, this guy I work with is basically that character. Like, the similarities are striking.
He's the Punisher?
He's brought so many guns into work.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Really?
He's like, hey, Troy, check out this. This is my new shotgun. I'm like,
dude.
All right. Cool.
Just start working out and show me your guns.
Yeah. Here are my guns.
That's actually why I can't board planes, because of my concealed weapons.
Yeah.
As I flex over. I guess they can't
And it's
really
like a
see it.
cartoon.
I can see your muscles
goes
through
the
your two
opposite way.
jackets.
Yeah. I work out. I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
So, yeah. Let's take a last break. And when we come back, excuse me. Yeah, I'm a little distracted by a few things. When we come back, we got even more stuff for you.
Way to sell it, Troy. Way to sell it. Jeez.
Heck of an advertisement right there.
Yeah.
World War G, we've got stuff for you.
So keep listening.
We'll be back right after this.
After the messaging, we'll be right back.
Thanks, Troy. Hi, everybody. This is Sean Ray.
And John Irons.
And we're the hosts of Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast. We're a show that has a little bit of everything.
Yeah, we talk about movies and TV and cartoons, entertainment news, and every show has a different theme.
That's right. We might discuss anything from our favorite bad movies to who would win in a fight between C-3PO and the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. That was episode 41, a classic. You can download that episode and all of our other episodes on iTunes and Stitcher. We're on Podcast Addict and, of course, on our website, cosmicpotato.com.
It's special guests and movie news and geeky nerddom and nerdy geekery and lightsabers and Time Lords and Ninja Turtles all the way down. So check out Cosmic Potato, the Super Fan Talk podcast.
And we're back. It's time for App Chat.
That's really what we're going to call it?
Yeah, that's what we're going to call it.
App Chat.
App Chat.
App Chat.
Oh. Sounds like Upchuck.
I like it, Troy. Don't let AJ talk you down.
Welcome to App Chat.
It's 2 against 1 here. I don't care. No, but... Okay, I do have 2 apps to recommend that are pretty dang awesome. The first one you're going to love, Troy. It's going to take you back. Animal Crossing Pocket Cam.
Ooh.
Yes. You get to create your own little character, and you start a campground. And it's kind of funny because they first ask you when you first start up the game, like Troy's like downloading it as we speak, or seeing if it's available.
I'm going to see if it's available, yeah.
When you first start up the game, you get to create your character, and it's kind of fun. There's not too many different features that you can change, but then it asks you, hey, what kind of camps do you like? Do you like sport camps? Do you like these kind? And then that's what it bases all of the furniture that you purchase off of. You start out in your one little location, but then you're also able to hop onto this like tour bus looking thing that you have, and you can go to about like 6 or 7 different places because they have a place that's by the beach where the beach is the only place that you can go fishing as well as collect seashells like in the original, like, you know, like in the old school one. Then you can also go to this other like island area or another place where you can collect butterflies, but it's got all of the, no, it's not on there.
It is, but it's not compatible with my device.
Really?
Yeah. I think my phone's too old.
That is the saddest thing ever. No, it's a lot of fun, and it's a blast from the past because there's a lot of the original people in this game that you get to go visit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one...
I'm sure that would be fun.
I'm sorry. I like bring it up, and then you're like, oh yeah, but you can't...
Just tease me and take it away.
The other game that perhaps you can check out is Stranger Things. The app game.
I've heard about this.
It's a 16-bit style game. It reminds me a lot of like the Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Yeah. Like it's shot from above, and the mechanics are pretty dang simple. And in order to be able to open up other like boxes and go into, to attack, you just tap the screen. So it's pretty straightforward, but it takes place between season 1 and season 2, and you can collect Egos. If you beat like these bosses, you collect Egos, as well as you can also find 8 hidden VHS tapes throughout the whole entire game, which these are like more difficult to locate. I've only found 1 so far, but I'm not that far into the game. Did you ever play the Stick of Truth by chance?
The South Park one?
Yeah.
No, but I watched someone play the entire game.
Okay. You know how you're like walking through like the streets a lot of the time?
Mm-hmm.
They have that with a lot of different owls that are swooping at you, as well as like other security guards from the compound, from that compound place. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've only gotten the first 3 characters, but you've got Hopper and Lucas, which is kind of cool because Lucas has this little slingshot that he's able to shoot rocks at everything. So a lot of the boxes that you're not able to unlock with Hopper, you can use Lucas. Then you finally, like the only other character I've gotten so far in Chapter 3 is Nancy, and she's able to break through things, like, because she's got a baseball bat. But if you do, like I was saying, like if you do collect 8 video or VHS tapes, you actually unlock hidden or like deleted scenes and other footage from Stranger Things that wasn't released anywhere else.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it gives you an incentive to try to locate it and to kind of complete the game in its entirety.
All right.
They're just a lot of fun. So I'd recommend both of them if you can download them.
Yeah,
I can. So I'll check them out, and then I'll tell Troy about it.
Yeah.
I can't afford a new phone currently. I'll get there.
So the app that I wanted to tell you guys about isn't a game per se, but it's called HQ Trivia.
Okay.
Basically what it is it's an interactive game show that everyone who has the app can play. And the prize pool is $1,000. Basically what it is...
Like actual money?
Actual money, yeah. So, and then if you win, they pay you via PayPal. So basically what it is, they have a host, just like any other game show, and when you start it, like it starts at 1 o'clock and 7 p.m. every day, and it's 15 minutes. And basically it's just a host, like, it's live. It's a guy who's talking to the camera, and he asks 12 questions. And each question has 10 seconds. You have 10 seconds to answer it, but the timer starts when he starts asking the question. So, like, by the time he's done asking the question, you really only have, like, 4 seconds left to answer, like, to give 3 answers. It's multiple choice, but it's trivia, and the questions range from, like, super easy to super hard. And I haven't gotten past 6. 6 was the furthest I got in the thing. I've played, like, 4 or 5 times. But the prize is $1,000 if you answer the 12th question correctly, but you split it with everybody else who won.
Right.
And so, like, it's $1,000 twice a day, but
do you actually get to see who wins, like their names, or do they?
Yeah. Once you win, and they have a leaderboard here, so
I'm installing this as we speak.
Me too.
Oh, they have a. Wait, is it
Trivia?
That's not
360?
it.
That's not it.
I feel bad for doing this, but they don't have an Android app yet.
What?
And Troy's phone's probably not compatible, so...
No, it's downloading it right now.
No, it is.
Troy's actually putting, like, coal into the side of his phone.
I gotta crank it. Hang on.
But, so, like, they have this leaderboard. So this week, the person in first place is this person named Waterslide Position. That's weird. But he's gotten $375 from winning so far. All time, Alan G is number 1. He's got $807.
That's my alias.
Alan G. Nice mustache and glasses.
But
it's really cool, and it really does feel like you're part of a game show, and that's what it is. And then yesterday, their prize for their 7 o'clock hour was $8,000.
Whoa.
And it was split between 42 people or something like that. But
No, that's a nice chunk of change.
$23.
I actually had a friend who got to the 12th question the day before yesterday, and he didn't get the 12th question right.
See, the only problem that I'm seeing with this game, and I'm glad that I'm not playing it, just because I feel like I would go all like channel my inner Slumdog Millionaire, and it would give me a flashback, and then I'd like get to the answer, but
And
it
you
would
wouldn't
already
have
be
time,
over.
yeah.
Because you only have like 4 seconds, you know. Yeah. And my flashbacks are at least 15, so.
Well, what kind of trivia is it? I mean, it's just like basic, just
Random,
general.
everything. Like one of them was.
'Cause I know a lot of weird stuff.
One of them was
Trivia, is it pretty similar to like Trivia Crack?
I don't know. I've never played Trivia Crack, but for example, the very first question that I got the first time I played is what.
Ready, Troy?
What do bees make? One of them said one of the answers was music, one was honey, and one was chocolate.
Honey.
Like that's how easy the first question is, and then the second question was.
See, I would overthink it.
Yeah, well, they could chocolate.
Like, are they trying to trick me?
Mhm. And then the next question was what's the name of the celebrity who just divorced or broke up with a buff other celebrity? So just something random like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was Arnold Schwarzenegger was the answer. Or some of the things are flip-flopped. I don't know. But some of them are really obscure, like which of these 3 countries is actually an island? And it was like Argentina and some other one and another one that doesn't even sound like a country name. And like you have to be really good at trivia or channel your your inner Slumdog Millionaire to get these right. But I'm gonna keep cracking away at it, and I missed the 7 o'clock hour because of this recording.
Thanks
but
a
that's
lot,
okay.
Troy and Adrian.
Well, today was definitely going to be your day.
You guys
Right?
cost me $1,000.
Sorry.
So you
Well, being on the podcast is priceless. So,
true.
you know, if anything, you should be paying us.
Please do. Please pay us. Somebody, please. Anybody?
Yeah, so you saw some movies this week, Troy.
I sure did. No, I actually just remembered that I was going to talk about 2, but I actually saw 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Working at the theater is really starting to pay off, huh?
It is. It has its perks. So I saw Bad Moms Christmas.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, it was dumb. If
Did you see the original?
No.
The first one? Okay.
No. I know enough about it, though. So if you want to just go shut your brain off and see dumb humor and slightly vulgar, then go
I've
to this
heard
one.
that's the same case with Daddy's Home 2. The first one I thought was pretty dang funny and like kind of clever, but then when you add in these other guys, it's just their parents, you know, trying to be over the top.
And then what I've seen, speaking of Daddy's Home 2, they kind of rehash some of the old jokes and kind of
that have already been done.
Yeah. So yeah, out of Bad Moms Christmas, out of like 5 shots, alcohol shots.
Yeah.
And I'm a 1.
If that.
Yeah. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. I really didn't like it that much. There were a couple times I will admit I did laugh, but
what?
Yeah.
Is it language, crew? What's the
everything?
Everything.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Surprisingly, no nudity though.
Oh, what the heck?
I know. I was disappointed.
Mila
No,
Kunis.
but there's definitely language, thematic things that they talk about. So yeah, there's that. All right.
So take 1 shot before seeing.
Yeah.
Or maybe 5.
But now on to a couple of good movies. First one I want to talk about is Wonder. This is based off a book titled Wonder.
You were talking about this, that work, like, you know, working at the theater, you get to go in at the hour mark.
Yes.
And from the part that you had seen, you already knew this was going to be a tearjerker.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Just seeing the preview made me tear up.
Yeah.
Going in and seeing, waiting for the movie to end and watching the end of the movie before I saw anything else made me tear up.
Oh, geez.
And I didn't even know any of the characters or anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, great. This whole movie, I'm just going to be a puddle of mess this whole movie. And I was. This is the story of a young boy who was born with a, what do they call it?
Deformity?
Yeah, he had a facial deformity. And so over the course of his life, he's had many surgeries, like 20-something surgeries, plastic surgery, all that stuff.
To try to give him some sort of semblance of a regular face?
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, he looks weird. He's got scars on his face. He doesn't look quite right.
Mm-hmm. And little kids are ruthless.
Yes.
So.
And he was homeschooled his whole life until he reached 5th grade, and his mom decided, you're ready to go to a public school. And, you know, he gets teased, he gets bullied. It's about, I mean, it's a movie about family, it's a movie about friendship, it's a movie about overcoming odds. It's a movie about what's on the inside, not the outside. And
so it hit really close to home.
It did. It did. Being a hideous freak who was bullied most of his life.
You were made for radio, Troy.
I do have a great face for radio. So I mean, if you have any semblance of a heart, you'll probably tear up.
So I'm good.
So yeah, you'll be fine. Because you were just the one talking about clapping behind my coworker who has PTSD.
I actually, on my religious walkabout, I did have a companion that was deaf, and I might have taken a couple of pots and pans and like banged them behind him because I wanted to make sure he was actually deaf.
Yeah.
So.
So yeah, but this one stars Jacob Tremblay as Augie. That's his name. The main kid. You'll know him from The Room with Brie Larson. His parents are played by Owen Wilson and Julia Roberts. This is the first thing.
So no wonder they got that giant.
He has a giant forehead and a
crooked nose,
messed up nose, a giant vein in his forehead, giant horse teeth. No, it's actually one of the better things I've seen Julia Roberts in a long time. So out of 5 astronaut helmets, I'd give it probably 4.
Wow.
Dang.
It's really good. Go see it with your family. You know, have a good cry like I did. Like, it was, during the end, it was hard to breathe for me.
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
that's
geez.
how much I was just sobbing at the end of this. It was pathetic.
Your soda started to taste more like tears.
The condensation around the cup of soda wasn't from condensation.
Hey, I'm not afraid to admit that I cry in movies. I'll admit it.
You're like, Saw really teared me.
I know.
Made me tear up.
And then the next one, also a really good film, Pixar's latest film, Coco.
You really wanted to cry this week, huh? You needed a good cry?
Well, I didn't think I did.
Yeah.
I didn't think Coco would hit me as much as it did. Now, this is a story about, it takes place in Mexico, about this young kid, named Miguel, who, during the Day of the Dead celebration that Mexico has.
Dia de los Muertos.
Yes.
Bless you.
He ends up stealing a guitar from his, almost gave away a spoiler there.
That was close.
I guessed it in the trailer. You don't have to worry.
Yeah. From an old musician that was from his town. And when he does this, he is then transported to the land of the dead. Now, if you're familiar with the Day of the Dead celebration, you know they do the whole sugar skull thing. Skulls are all painted up.
Right.
That's how every skeleton in this looked. They all had that type of skull.
Wasn't there another movie like
Bride,
Book of Life?
It was. I mean, it's the same celebration.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Like I was talking about the movie itself, though. Like similar art style.
kind of. And so the story is that in order to get back to the land of the living, he has to have a blessing from his family in order to do that. Now, the problem is they put stipulations on it that he can go back, but because he finds his family, you know, the ones that have been dead for a while, he can go back, but he can't play music anymore. Because his family hates music. They banned it for generations. So he said no. So he's going to go find this famous musician who is also in the land of the dead, and he's going to get his blessing so that, you know, musician to musician, he'll be able to go back to the land of the living and play his music. That's the very basic plot. This, man, freaking Pixar. I mean, it's been 20 plus years of them making grown men cry. Or at least those of us that have feelings. Yeah, this is a great story about family. And about the importance of family. And the importance of remembering your heritage and remembering where you come from and you know, not forgetting your family traditions and that sort of thing.
It seems rather appropriate that it should be set in Mexico because, like, family, it means like everything to, you know, the Hispanic culture.
Yeah, and I mean, and to us dumb white people, it's like we don't have any celebration like that. You know, we don't post pictures of generations of our family on our wall and. Yeah, so I was actually kind of jealous. Like I want a celebration like that. It'd be kind of cool. So out of
we'll start one, Troy.
Awesome.
White Day.
Let's not call it that. Let's not call it White Day.
Okay, that's a work in progress.
Yeah,
you know.
We'll brainstorm it.
Right.
Dia de los
App Chat.
Blanco.
We'll call it App Chat.
That's good. Where'd you come up with that?
Just on the spot, you know, just quick thinking here.
Dia de los Blanco. I like that. Out of 5 guitars. Oh, by the way, the music in this is really good. I mean, the music is good, the acting is good, the story is good, the animation is awesome. I mean, it's fantastic. So it's
working on all cylinders.
It is. So out of 5 guitars, 4.5.
Wow! Dang!
A 4 and a 4.5.
That's
on the same day.
Yep, it's rare. I know it's rare. We've yet to have a perfect 5, but this one gets really, really close.
Wow!
So definitely go see Wonder and Coco. Not so much Bad Moms Christmas. You can
pass on that.
Skip that one. Drag that one out in the street and shoot it in the head. So, we are continuing with Colton's Comic Crusade. This stems from Colton has never read a comic book. Or when you first came on, you admitted you'd never read a comic book. So we have been giving you comic books to kind of indoctrinate you.
Ease you into the comic book life.
Yeah. So what are the comics that you have today?
So, the first comic that I ever read, well, a couple of the first ones that I read were the ones that you gave me, the Black Road ones, and it was just the first 3 issues in Volume 1 for it of the Holy North. And so I went into Heebie-Jeebies, and this is actually the first comic book I've ever bought myself.
That's awesome.
Look at him growing.
Right?
And I got the second,
parents.
The last 2 issues in that volume, and it's incredible. I love how they can like make you feel the way that they do in such a short story, and like that's a lot to do with the pictures for sure.
The pictures just tell half the story, you know.
And so I really like this one. I tried to find the second volume.
There is and that's
it's hard to do.
Continuation, and they finish it off. you can actually go ahead and talk to Heebie-Jeebies and say, hey, I'd like to order this one, and they order it for you, and it's free to
order.
Get it. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and then another thing is I didn't realize how freaking expensive comics are, especially the indie comics that are a little smaller. Even like Marvel ones, they're so expensive even though they have so much money. I don't understand.
They're like $5 a pop.
Well, in this one, this first volume for this one is $9.99 right off the bat.
I know that they did have on their Black Friday sale. They did have it. It was like buy 2 get 1 free.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Back in my day, I remember they were $2.99,
which totally fine. I'm fine with the cost. That's not really a huge prohibitor of me getting these or anything. But then I talked to Zane at Heebie-Jeebies. I don't know if you guys know.
I know exactly who he is. Yeah.
So he introduced me to this one, Autumnlands, which is more similar to this than or to the Black Road than like a superhero comic, because I kind of like these more gritty ones, I think. And this one's
I've got
really
some
cool.
awesome recommendations.
This one's really cool. It's basically just about some... I don't know if you've read this one.
I've not.
I'll let you take this home if you want.
Sweet.
Just treat her nicely. Anyways, it's
Treat
about...
her like a lady.
I don't know when it's based. I'm thinking it's sometime in the future.
Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
That's what comics are.
But it's about these animals that are now humanoids. So they like talk and they dress and they have magic, but their magic is depleting. And so they want to do this ritual to summon an old champion who will go and get their magic back for them.
Huh.
And the person that they summon is a human, and they don't know anything about him or anything, but he's supposed to save them, and he gets them out of some tricky situations. I read that one. I haven't read this one yet, because I've been waiting until I can devote my whole mind to it, because I've been doing some stuff at work, but yeah, it's really good. I really like it. Except they do show a penis. Like 3 times. I don't understand.
I've never seen one of those.
I don't know. I don't know why they have to illustrate that kind of stuff. But other than that, it's great. I'm really, really loving comics.
I've got some awesome. Anything by Scott Snyder, just saying, dude. Like, I'll have to bring some really. If you like these kind of like more styles, and I love the ones that have already like finished up their story, so you're not like waiting for the next episode. You know, you're not waiting for the next issue.
Oh, okay, there it is.
You see it?
There it is.
Troy was thumbing through it, looking for it.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of was. Just curious. Oh, there it is again.
Told you.
Holy cow!
Peekaboo.
Yeah,
the art looks pretty awesome in it, though.
Yeah, so if you guys want to borrow this one, you totally can, and I'll just get it back from you next time we do an episode, if you remember. But
it looks a little like, I mean, I know it's not in that same vein at all, but Island of the Dr. Moreau-esque a little bit. Is when
that's what I was thinking, yeah.
You started bringing it up.
So it's called the Autumnland?
Yeah, Autumnlands. The first volume is Tooth and Claw, and the second one is Woodland Creatures.
Kurt, how do you say the last name? Kurt
Busiek?
Busiek.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Very famous comic book writer. He's written a lot of stuff for Marvel and DC, so.
You chose wisely.
Indeed.
Really cool.
All right. Awesome. So, here's where you can find all of our episodes. You can listen to us at worldwarg.podbean.com. You can also find us on iTunes and the Google Play Store. Just search World War G. On the social medias, you can find us at facebook.com/World War G podcast. Be sure to put in the podcast because somebody else has facebook.com/World War G.
What?
There's some black woman and then you talk to her about it. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. Just search at WWG Podcast. You can find all of our merchandise, all of our shirts that has the logo designed by Colton.
That's me.
At shop.spreadshirt.com/WorldWarG. You can also email us anytime.
Day or night.
At worldwgpodcast@gmail.com. So this has been World War G episode 154. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
And I've been Colton.
Stay geeky, my friends. And, oh, look, that is a penis. Wow, how about that?